Time for some NFL Week 6 reaction. The early games are in the books. The London game as well as the Bears took down the Jags. We'll get to some thoughts there also. My name is Harrison Graham. This is for Verts. Go ahead and like this video if you want Sunday Night Football primetime reaction tonight. Giants, Bengals, not the juiciest game ever, but if we get 75 or more likes on today's show, we'll do a Sunday Night Football reaction episode, plus we'll react to the afternoon games as well. All right, the game of the early window was Ravens-Commanders, and this kind of went how I thought it would. I thought Daniels and Washington would compete in this game, but ultimately Baltimore's just a much more complete team, and this game was on the road for Washington. And that's kind of what happened. The Commanders' defense, and secondary in particular, just doesn't have enough pieces yet. Lamar Jackson was very efficient. Derrick Henry ran wild. Jayden Daniels hung in there, threw in a big-time touchdown to McLaurin on fourth down to cut it to 7 late in that game. Baltimore gets the field goal to go up 10 before Washington gets a field goal of their own, but the Ravens were able to run out the clock after that. Jayden Daniels is pretty damn good, man. 24-35, 269, couple of touchdowns. They fall to 4-2, but I kind of feel like this is one of those games where both teams are pretty happy at the end of the day. Obviously, you're not happy about a loss, but if you're Washington, you're sitting at 4-2, you feel good about the quarterback you drafted, and you didn't go toe-to-toe with the Ravens, but you battled, you fought, and you played them tough for 60 minutes, and for the Ravens, they're rolling now. 4 straight wins, 4-2 on the year after an 0-2 start. Lamar's humming, Derrick Henry's humming. Lamar's got to be in the MVP race now. He's playing really well. Their defense isn't quite what it's been the last few years, but their offense in year 2 in the Todd Monken system, they feel like they're gelling, and big game for that offense all around. So good performance by Baltimore, good fight for Washington. Ultimately, the better team won in the end of this game. All right, let's take a look at the London game here. Bears 35, Jags 16, and this is kind of in the typical Bears game recently. Start out sluggish in the first quarter and then just dominate. That's what we've seen 2 weeks in a row. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. We're up 14-3 at the half and just ran away with this one. Another big Caleb Williams game, 23 of 29, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns with 1 interception. The interception was bad. He just floated a deep ball, way too much air under it. But other than that, he was flawless. Threw a beautiful back shoulder seam route to Keenan Allen for a touchdown, hit Cole Kmet for a pair, found Keenan again on a goal line fade. He's just getting better and better every week. The Bears have a franchise quarterback. Now for the Jags, Trevor Lawrence, another ugly pick. I actually thought he played okay. They dropped a couple of passes, but Dougie P's in trouble. I know Trent Baalke, or Shad Khan, came out and put support behind Baalke and Dougie P. The classic owner provides support, kiss of death. They're in major trouble. 1-5 now. Their only win was a narrow victory over the Colts last week. I mean, they just got steamrolled by Chicago. It wasn't even close. Their defense is a joke. They couldn't run the ball today. Trevor Lawrence continues to be up and down. I just don't see how Doug survives. And if he goes, I think Baalke goes. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're in a great spot at 1-5. Their season's done. And for the Bears, 4-2 heading into the bye week. A couple of guys nicked up. 3 wins in a row. First time in the Matt Eberflus era. They got to be feeling pretty good about themselves with their franchise quarterback, Caleb Williams. NFC North, man, just an absolute wagon. Packers hammer the Cardinals 34-13 at home. Jordan Love's best game of the season, threw for 4 touchdowns and a pick as well. 258 through the air. Romeo Doubs got suspended for the kind of team violation, whatever you want to call it. Came back, got a couple of touchdowns this week. And I think this is just what you're going to get out of Arizona this year. They've got limited talent in certain spots, especially defensively. So it's just going to be up and down. Like they'll probably win like 7 or 8 games. They're 2-4 now, and maybe more like 7. And some weeks it's going to be ugly. They've been blown out a few times now. They got smoked today. So this is kind of what you're going to get. Marvin Harrison Jr. left this game. early on. I think it was a concussion. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But yeah, they were really never in this game. They were down 14-0 early, 24-10. They got it to 24-13 early second half, but that was it for Arizona. Just kind of a classic professional win for Green Bay. The NFC North, as of filming this, Vikings on bye week at 5-0. Lions playing the Cowboys. That game just kicked off. They're 3-1, looking to improve to 4-1. They had their bye week last week. Bears and Packers both 4-2. I mean, the division is just an absolute gauntlet, and most of those divisional games are later in the season, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you want more NFL reaction, news, trade buzz, deadline less than a month away, and a whole lot more. Hit that subscribe button here on Verts. We've got you covered with daily content here on the show. And if you enjoy today's video, hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long. Colts 20, Titans 17. I didn't think Joe Flacco played that well in this one. Missed Alec Pierce on a wide-open deep ball late in the game. But was good enough to win. Got the start despite Anthony Richardson being healthy enough to play. Threw for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns with the pick. Will Levis, man, I just 16 of 27 for 95 yards. Like, the pick, again, another disastrous pick. Just floats a jump ball late in the game down 3 at safety, easily comes over and picks it off. It's like, Will, know the situation. You don't need that there. Just an awful pick. It's not as bad as the ones where he's literally throwing the ball backwards earlier in the season, but it's still just mind-numbing. It's like, what is the decision? If Mason Rudolph plays today, I think Tennessee wins because I didn't think Flacco was that good. Jonathan Taylor was out, so that feels like a missed opportunity for Tennessee. They fall to 1-4. Colts improved to 3-3. We'll see how this Flacco-Richardson thing plays out, but if I'm Brian Callahan, I'm not sure I can keep trotting out Will Levis. In the craziest game of the day, Bucs-Saints. Bucs win 51-27. Let's make sure that game went final. Yeah, 51-27. Spencer Rattler finished 22 of 40, actually. These stats were before the garbage time drive. So 22 of 40 for Rattler, 243, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The Bucs were up 17-0 like 8 minutes into this game. Then they were down 27-24 at halftime, and then they won the second half 27-0. I mean, this was like a college game with a game of runs here, like 3 games within the game. But, Spencer Rattler found some magic in that second quarter, but ultimately Baker, outside of a couple mind-boggling interceptions, was pretty damn good again. He's been good all year. Sean Tucker rushed for 136 yards on 14 carries. I mean, seems like the Bucs are just getting production out of different backs every week. Bucky Irving had 14 for 81, so they both ran hard. Their offense is really good. Now, their defense isn't nearly as good as it's been. They did pitch a shutout in the second half, but this is not a vintage Bulls defense. And for New Orleans, what has happened to Dennis Allen's defense the last few weeks? I mean, they are getting torched. If they're giving up points like this, I don't care who's playing quarterback. They're not built to win these shootouts. They're built to play defense and have complementary offense, and they're just not getting that right now out of their defense. Not a game I would have expected them to win, but to just get bludgeoned 27-0 in the second half and give up a 50-burger, that's not good. 4 straight losses for the New Orleans Saints as they fall to 2-4. All right, Texans, Patriots, and then we'll wrap it up with Eagles and Browns. Drake Maye looked pretty decent, honestly. He did throw a couple of picks, but going up against a good Texans defense, threw 3 touchdowns in his debut. I would have waited a week because they play the Jags next week, but hey, why not? Get him out there. Thought he played fairly well, held his own. Looked like a rookie at times, but not a bad debut whatsoever. No Nico, no problem. CJ Stroud tosses 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon back in the lineup, ran for over 100 yards and a score. Texans kind of cruised to a victory here. And then last game of the early window, don't have a graphic here, but Eagles and Browns. And I know Deshaun Watson at one point in the second half was 11 for 11. I think he actually went 11 for 12 in the second half. But it's all just dump-offs for the most part. I made a couple of nice throws, hit Cooper on a tight window slant, but they lose 20-16. And there was a point where it's like, if Sirianni loses to Deshaun Watson at home coming off the bye week, Philly might fire him on the spot. They didn't. A.J. Brown had a big catch late. Jalen Hurts a key third down conversion on a speed option, but Philly just does not look great. They really don't. And Deshaun Watson, 16 of 23, 168. The raw numbers aren't atrocious, but you just watch him play. There's no big plays. No big plays. Took 5 sacks against the defense that does not have a front four that's generating a lot of pressure. They brought Cooper DeJean on a few nickel blitzes, but I view Cleveland at this point. They could be in the number 1 pick category. It's that bad. Their defense played a little better today, but it hasn't been good. A.J. Brown's a monster, 116 yards and a touchdown. He saves the day for Jalen Hurts and Sirianni, but Eagles look average. Browns look terrible. Just not a very good watch. I'll put it that way. It's one of those close games. It's not fun to watch, if you know what I mean. Quick scores from the afternoon slate, then we'll get out of here. Chargers lead 10-0 late in the first quarter. Jim Harbaugh had an illness thing going on, had to get checked out in the locker room, but last I checked, he came back to the sideline, so hopefully he's okay there. Raiders lead the Steelers 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. Alexander Madison with the touchdown. Lions just took a 7-3 lead on Dallas. David Montgomery, who just got an extension, he finds the end zone. And then Falcons and Panthers scoreless midway through the first quarter. All right, again, couple things. If you want Sunday Night Football reaction, hit that like button, like this video. If we get 75 likes, we will do it. And subscribe to the channel if you want more NFL coverage, news, rumors, trade buzz, highlights, reaction. We got you covered for all of it here on 4 Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys soon.